Welcome to Final Punchline, a long-form dad joke podcast, Season 1. Episode 1 is titled The Cheese Factory. It's written by Ryan Stevens and narrated by Blythe Renee. Final Punchline's audio engineer is Patrick Sokol and is produced and directed by Yoon. Final Punchline's available on Apple and finalpunchline.com. Now sit back, relax, and listen for the Final Punchline.
Pierre worked long hours at the cheese factory. His father had worked at this factory, and his father's father before him. Pierre's father's father's father had been in the army, but that didn't interest Pierre very much. He was a cheese man, born and bred. He ate his bread with cheese, no matter what. He worked hard, sweating over the Stilton, ran himself ragged on Rebel Ashan, had to grind for the Gruyere, broke his back for the Beaufort. It was hard work, but cheese was in his blood. He had medication to take for that. One of Pierre's jobs was to make sure the boiler room in the cheese factory was kept under control. He had been training an apprentice, Louis, who was enthusiastic but a slow learner. Still, Pierre thought of Louis as a son, because Louis called him Papa, and even though Pierre had never approved of this nickname and actually had told Louis not to call him that several times, it had begun to grow on him. The cheese boiler was tricky, but Pierre knew how to play it like a piano. A large, steaming piano that didn't play particularly pleasant music, but also filled its function as a boiler. Pierre sometimes felt like he and the boiler were married. They had good times and bad times, times where they fought and couldn't stand each other, and times where they worked in perfect harmony. Today was not a perfect harmony day, though. Pierre's back hurt, his feet hurt, his arms hurt, and all of his bones wanted to leave his body, but wouldn't because it would have been too much effort. And so Pierre called in a sick day. His cheese foremen were concerned for his health, but Pierre promised that he'd be back tomorrow and just needed some rest. They assured him that Louis would handle the work for one day, and that was that. So instead of getting elbow deep in Roquefort and Munster, Pierre spent a day relaxing and enjoying the world outside of cheese. He walked down to the beach and saw the gulls flying through the air, breathed in the salty ocean brine, and let his worries melt away. Still, as joyful as Pierre felt to have a break from the constant toil of his job, part of him did miss it. Without the cheese, without the boiler, who was he? Just a man with weak joints sitting on a beach. Maybe he didn't mind the work anymore. The longest relationship he'd had in his life was with that old boiler. Pierre walked home, his head filled with a new appreciation for his lot in life. Cheese was a delicious cause to dedicate your life to, after all. Tomorrow, he would go into work, tell Louis he was proud of him, and go back to work with a smile on his old, tired face. Pierre sighed a sigh of relaxation and turned on the television. There was a news reporter on TV, trying to appear professional, but weeping. Pierre leaned forward. What had happened? Was today not a good day for everyone else? He turned the volume up and listened.
This is an absolutely terrible tragedy, but one we must recover from. The cheese factory has exploded. While everyone working survived, the cheeses themselves have been ravaged. In fact, I'm getting a report that there was nothing left but the brie.
This has been Final Punchline. Thank you for listening. Please visit our website at finalpunchline.com. We'll be back next week.